I spent most of my life afraid of the wrong people. I worried about strangers. I locked my doors against thieves. I kept my guard up around competitors, around people who smiled too wide, around anyone who seemed like they might want something from me. But the deepest wounds I carry didn't come from any of them. They came from the people I loved, from the ones I trusted without question, from the family members who knew my weaknesses, and the friends who'd seen me cry. The worst betrayals of my life happened in silence, in small choices, in turned backs when I needed someone most. And I never saw them coming, because I was watching the wrong direction. My name is Margaret, though most people call me Maggie. I'm 72 now, and I live in a small house on the edge of Cedar Falls, Iowa. It's a quiet town, the kind where everyone knows your business whether you share it or not. I've lived here my whole life. I raised 3 children in this house. My husband died here 16 years ago on a Tuesday morning in late September. The light was golden through the kitchen windows. He just finished his coffee. For most of my adult life, I thought I knew what loyalty meant. I thought it was something you earned by being good to people, by showing up, by being the person others could count on. I was the one who brought casseroles when someone got sick. I was the one who babysat grandchildren, who drove neighbors to doctor appointments, who organized the church fundraisers and the neighborhood potlucks. I had a sister named Ellen, who was 3 years younger than me. We grew up sharing a bedroom, sharing clothes, sharing secrets. When our mother died, Ellen and I held each other and promised we'd never let anything come between us. I had a best friend named Carol who lived 2 streets over. We'd been friends since 3rd grade. We'd been bridesmaids in each other's weddings. We'd raised our children together, spending summer afternoons at the community pool while our kids splashed and screamed. And I had 3 children of my own. Daniel, my oldest, who became a lawyer in Des Moines. Sarah, my middle child, who stayed in Cedar Falls and taught at the elementary school. And Thomas, my youngest, who worked construction and never quite found his footing. These were my people, the ones I would have done anything for, the ones I believed would do anything for me. I think about trust a lot these days, how it's built so slowly, piece by piece, year after year, how it requires 1,000 small acts of showing up, of keeping promises, of being there when it's inconvenient. I gave that kind of trust freely, maybe too freely. When Ellen's husband left her, I let her move in with me for 6 months. I listened to her cry every night. I helped her find a lawyer, helped her figure out her finances, helped her start over. When Carol's son got in trouble with drugs, I didn't judge. I sat with her in hospital waiting rooms. I drove her to Al-Anon meetings when she was too shaken to drive herself. When my children needed help, I gave it. Daniel needed money for law school. I took out a second mortgage. Sarah needed childcare when her marriage was falling apart. I watched my grandchildren every day for 2 years. Thomas needed a place to stay when his girlfriend kicked him out. He slept in my guest room for 18 months. I never asked for anything in return. That wasn't how I was raised. You helped family. You helped friends. You didn't keep score. But somewhere along the way, I stopped noticing that the giving only went one direction. I told myself it didn't matter. I told myself that love wasn't transactional, that being needed was enough, that my reward was in knowing I'd made a difference. And I believed it. I really did. The first crack appeared when my husband died. It was small, so small I almost missed it. Ellen came to the funeral. She cried. She hugged me. But when the service ended and everyone went back to my house for the reception, she left early. She said she had a headache. I understood. Grief is hard, but she didn't call the next day or the day after that. A week passed. Then 2 weeks. I finally called her. "I've just been so busy," she said. Her voice sounded distant, distracted. "You know how it is." I didn't, actually. When she'd lost her husband, I'd called her every single day for 3 months. But I didn't say that. I said, "Of course, I understand." Carol came by once, the day after the funeral. She brought a lasagna and stayed for 20 minutes. "I'm here if you need anything," she said. Then she stopped returning my calls. My children were busy too. Daniel had a big case. Sarah had the kids. Thomas was working long hours. Everyone had reasons, good reasons, and I accepted them. Because what else could I do? I was the one who was supposed to be strong, the one who held everything together, the one who didn't complain. So I didn't complain. I cleaned out my husband's closet by myself. I sorted through 50 years of shared memories alone. I learned to cook for one, to sleep in an empty bed, to wake up to silence, and I told myself it was fine. They were busy. They had their own lives. This was just how things were. The second crack came 2 years later. I needed surgery on my knee. Nothing major, but I wouldn't be able to drive for a few weeks afterward. I called Sarah first. "Mom, I wish I could help, but the kids have school and I'm swamped at work. Can you hire someone?" I called Ellen. "I'm traveling for work that week. Bad timing. Sorry." I called Thomas. "I'm on a job in Omaha. Won't be back for a month." Carol didn't answer when I called. I hired a home health aide, a kind woman named Rosa who didn't know me at all. She drove me to follow-up appointments. She helped me shower. She made me lunch, and I paid her $25 an hour. The people I'd spent my whole life helping were too busy. But I still didn't let myself feel angry. I made excuses for them. Sarah really was busy. Ellen's job required travel. Thomas went where the work was. It wasn't their fault. I was being needy, unreasonable. I should be more independent. The third crack came when I fell. It was winter 3 years ago. I slipped on ice in my driveway and broke my wrist. I called Sarah from the emergency room. "Oh no, Mom, do you need me to come?" Her voice had that edge, the one that said, "Please say no." "No," I said, "I'm fine. They're going to cast it and send me home." "Okay. Well, keep me posted." She didn't come. Ellen sent a text. "Hope you feel better soon." Thomas didn't respond at all. Carol posted something on Facebook about the importance of being there for friends, but she didn't call. I went home alone. I struggled to open jars, to button my shirts, to tie my shoes, and I started to wonder, not in an angry way, just a quiet, sad way. I started to wonder if I'd spent my whole life investing in people who would never invest in me. But the real truth didn't come all at once. It came in pieces, in moments, in things I overheard or stumbled across. I was at Sarah's house for Sunday dinner. I got up to use the bathroom and heard her on the phone in the kitchen. I know, I'll visit her next week. I don't know, it's exhausting. She always needs something. She was talking about me to someone. I don't know who. I stood in the hallway, frozen. I'd watched her children every day for 2 years. I'd given up my time, my routines, my freedom. I'd done it without complaint, and now I was exhausting. Because I'd asked her to drive me to one doctor's appointment, I didn't say anything. I went back to the table and ate my dinner and pretended I hadn't heard. A few months later, I ran into one of Ellen's coworkers at the grocery store. We chatted for a moment. Then she said, "Ellen mentioned you've been having a hard time since your husband passed. That must be tough." I smiled. "I'm managing." "Well, it's good she's been able to help you so much. Family is everything." I didn't correct her. But later, driving home, I thought about what she'd said. Ellen had been telling people she was helping me. She hadn't called in 6 months. She hadn't visited in over a year, but she was telling people she was there for me, taking credit for support she never gave. The final piece came last spring. My neighbor mentioned something in passing. She said she'd seen Thomas's truck parked at the house 2 streets over, Carol's house. I didn't know they were friends, she said. They weren't, or I didn't think they were. But when I asked Thomas about it, he got defensive. I help her with stuff sometimes, yard work, repairs. Why? I'm just surprised. You said you were too busy to help me move that bookshelf. That's different, Mom. You could have hired someone. He was doing yard work for Carol for free, but I was supposed to hire someone. I didn't argue. I just nodded. But something shifted in me, something cold and clear. I started paying attention after that, really paying attention. I noticed how Sarah only called when she needed something. Babysitting, money, advice she never took. I noticed how Ellen only visited when other people were around, when there were witnesses to her goodness. I noticed how Thomas took and never once asked how I was doing. I noticed how Carol posted pictures of herself with other friends, smiling, laughing, living a full life. But she never had time for me, and I realized something. I'd been betrayed. Not in one big dramatic moment, not with shouting or accusations, but slowly, quietly, by people who let me believe I mattered to them while treating me like I didn't. The worst part wasn't the betrayal itself. It was realizing how long I'd been complicit in it. I'd made excuses for them. I'd told myself I was being unreasonable. I'd convinced myself that my needs were too much, that I was asking for too much, that I should be grateful for whatever scraps of attention they gave me. I'd betrayed myself by refusing to see what was right in front of me, by accepting less than I deserved, by believing that love meant always giving and never receiving. I didn't confront anyone. What would be the point? They would deny it. They would make more excuses. They would make me feel like I was the problem. And maybe I was. Maybe I'd trained them to treat me this way. Maybe I'd set a pattern so early that they couldn't see anything wrong with it. Or maybe they just didn't care. Either way, confrontation wouldn't change anything. So I changed instead. I stopped being available all the time. When Sarah called asking me to babysit, I started saying no sometimes. I have plans, I'd say, even when my plans were just sitting on my porch with a book. When Ellen suggested getting together, I'd say, "Let me check my calendar and get back to you." Then I wouldn't get back to her. When Thomas asked to borrow money, I said, "I'm not in a position to help right now." I was, but I wasn't in a position to keep giving to someone who only took. Carol eventually noticed I'd stopped reaching out. She sent a text. "Are you mad at me?" I wrote back, "No, just busy." Let her wonder what that meant. I started building a different kind of life. I joined a book club at the library. I started volunteering at the food bank. I took a watercolor class at the community center. I made new friends. People who didn't know the old me. The one who said yes to everything. People who saw me as I was now. Someone with boundaries. Someone who valued her own time. It felt strange at first, almost selfish. But then I realized something. Taking care of myself wasn't selfish, it was necessary. It was something I should have learned decades ago. My children noticed the change, Sarah called one day, annoyed. "You've been really distant lately, Mom. Is something wrong?" I could have told her the truth. I could have said, "You only call when you need something. You treat me like a resource instead of a person. You don't actually care how I'm doing." But I didn't. I said, "I've just been busy. You know how it is." Using her own words. There was a long silence. Then she said, "Okay, well, I guess I'll talk to you later." We talked less after that. It hurt. But it also felt honest. Ellen came by one afternoon, unannounced. She was upset about something at work. She wanted to vent. I made tea. I listened for a while. Then I said, "Ellen, I need to ask you something." "What?" "Do you remember when I broke my wrist and I was recovering alone?" She frowned. "I was traveling for work, Maggie, I told you." "I know. But do you remember when your husband left and I let you live here for 6 months?" Her face changed. "What does that have to do with anything?" "Nothing," I said. "I'm just remembering." She left soon after that. We haven't talked much since. I don't hate them, any of them. I don't think they set out to hurt me. I don't think they woke up every day and decided to betray me. I think they just didn't think about me. I was always there. So they assumed I always would be. I always gave. So they assumed they could always take. And when I stopped, they were confused, hurt even, because in their minds, they hadn't done anything wrong. And maybe they hadn't. Maybe the problem was that I'd never told them what I needed, never set boundaries, never asked for reciprocity. Maybe I'd taught them to treat me exactly the way they did, but that doesn't make it hurt less. I think about betrayal differently now. I used to think it was something dramatic, something intentional. I thought it looked like affairs and stolen money and lies. But the deepest betrayals are quieter than that. They look like someone not showing up, like phone calls that are never returned, like love that only flows one direction, like realizing you've spent years being loyal to people who wouldn't do the same for you. I'm okay now, more than okay, really. I have a life that feels like mine. I have friends who care. I have routines that bring me peace. I still see my children sometimes. We have dinners. We exchange pleasantries. But I don't depend on them anymore. I don't wait for them to call. I don't hope for them to notice. I've let go of the fantasy that they'll become the people I needed them to be. And in letting go, I've found something I didn't expect. Freedom. Freedom from resentment, from disappointment, from the endless cycle of giving and hoping and being let down. I've learned that love doesn't have to hurt this much, that relationships can be honest without being cruel, that walking away isn't the same as giving up. Sometimes it's just choosing yourself. The house is quiet tonight. I made myself dinner. I watched the sun set over the cornfields. I sat on my porch and listened to the crickets. And I thought about all the years I spent afraid of strangers, when the real danger was always closer than that. It was in the people I trusted most, the ones who knew exactly how to hurt me. Because I'd shown them, I'd given them everything, and they'd taken it all, not with malice, just with indifference. I don't know if they think about me the way I think about them. I don't know if they realize what they lost when I stopped being available. I don't know if they feel guilty or sad, or if they feel anything at all. And I've realized that it doesn't matter. Their feelings aren't my responsibility. They never were. If you're reading this or listening to this, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you felt it too. That slow, creeping realization that the people you loved most didn't love you the same way, that you were always the one reaching out, the one making plans, the one showing up, and when you stopped, everything just fell apart. It's a lonely feeling, but it's also clarifying, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you know your worth, you can't pretend you don't. Some betrayals don't come from enemies. They come from the people who were supposed to protect you, the ones who knew your heart and didn't handle it carefully, the ones who took your love for granted until you stopped giving it. And the hardest part is that they probably didn't even realize what they were doing. They probably still don't, but you do, and that knowledge changes everything. I'm 72 years old. I've lived long enough to know that not everyone deserves access to you. That loyalty is a gift, not an obligation. That you can love people from a distance, and that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who don't value you, even when they're family, even when they're people you've known your whole life, even when it breaks your heart. So I'm asking you now, have you ever been hurt by someone you trusted the most? Someone who should have protected you, but didn't? Do you think betrayal hurts more when it comes quietly, in small moments, in silence? I'd like to know. Because I think we carry these stories alone for too long. We think we're the only ones, but we're not. We're all just trying to figure out how to love people who don't know how to love us back, and how to keep our hearts open when they've been broken so many times. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because you're worth it, even if the people who were supposed to tell you that never did.